In this video, I will have a quick look at the new HTTP tracer capability we have introduced in the Kadiska platform. As its name implies, the HTTP tracer is part of the Kadiska tracer technology, which means that you will be able to synthetically and proactively test performance of web services as well as web-based API calls. With the HTTP tracer, you will collect performance metrics like the availability, the DNS resolution time, the connection time, the TLS handshake, the server response time. So it will be a perfect complement to what we already do with the net tracer, which is about testing the performance of the network path from a source to a destination, including identifying the full network path. Let's now have a look at the new HTTP tracer related dashboard. First of all, you can navigate to the main tracer universe. In this main first network overview dashboard, we have added a second section. The first one is still being related to the net tracer. And if you scroll down, we have now added a new section which is related to the HTTP tracer's metrics. We take the availability as first main metric. You can sort on the different metrics you like. And then from there, you can focus on a specific service you want to have more information about. So for example, here I will focus my attention on Google Meet. And as you know, when I select one item, all the data in the corresponding dashboards are automatically filtered on this item and are updated accordingly. From there, I can, for example, try to understand why I have such an availability which is less than 100%. And for that, I can navigate to the Performance by Tester. In the Performance by Tester dashboard, again, you will have a first section which is more related to the net tracers. And then here in the second part of the dashboard, you have information related to the HTTP tracers. So that I can immediately see here that I have a problem connecting to Google Meet from China. You see here all the testers that are installed in China cannot reach the Google Meet during the time frame I've selected. Next, from Italy, I see that I have an availability of 97.2%. So I do want to understand what happened when there were some unavailability of the service. And for that again, I can filter on this specific tester and I can navigate to the final dashboard, which will provide all information I need to understand the behavior. And for that, I go to the web performance new dashboard we have added in the Kadiska platform. In this dashboard, you see the overview of the availability, the number of tests that have been performed to calculate this availability rate, as well as immediately the errors that corresponds to an availability period. So I see that I have had, from Italy, some problems connecting, so establishing a TCP connection to the servers I was targeting at that time, as well as some timeouts. So it means here that the process was aborted due to some timeouts I can configure in my HTTP tracer settings. Here you see that I have all the main performance metrics I need, which are the DNS resolution time, the connection time, the time it took to establish secure TLS session, the time it took for the server to compute the request. Then here we have added some very interesting metrics which are related to the redirections. So we identify the potential number of redirections that have occurred before the tester was able to reach the final server. And we'll also measure the impact of such redirections by here measuring the time it took for all these redirections processes. In the next table, I can identify the location of the users. In my case, I'm focusing on a tester in Italy, so obviously I will have only one line, but I will show you in a minute how we can make use of this dashboard in a different way. I can identify the HTTP protocols as well as the TLS version which were negotiated between the tester and the HTTP tracer target. Can be really interesting to see differences between different services you are targeting. And then you have again the different performance metrics. Then you can identify the servers you are connecting to, as well as their location and their respective performance metrics. And you also see in the count column how often you were connected to one or another server. Then here you have different time series. The first one is about availability, so that you can identify exactly when the server was unavailable for the users you are focusing on. Then you have time series which provides all the performance metrics, DNS, connection, TLS and server, and you can focus on one or multiple by just clicking here in the legend. And if you hold shift and you click on a second one, you can focus your attention on multiple performance metrics at the same time if you want to. And as usual, you can focus on some more specific time frame by using what we call the focus mode. Finally, I can use the distribution graph to fine-tune my analysis. So for example, if I do want to identify the slowest server, I can go to the distribution graph providing the server response time and filtering on the slowest transactions. So if I do that, if I go here above, I can easily identify the server which was the slowest. The last time series is about the evolution of the time of the response status, so that you can identify quickly when you had a problem with certain type of errors. And to demonstrate that, I will take another example. So let's get rid of all the filters I had here. So let's assume that you navigate directly to the web performance to make some analysis. So here you will see the evolution of the time of all the different responses code we have had. And here above you have, of course, the summary of the total number of tests, the general availability for all tests, so meaning all HTTP tracers for all testers. And you see here a summary of the different types of errors I got. From here, if I want to understand who suffered from DNS resolution process errors and for which services, I can filter on the DNS error type here from the errors table. And here you see that I can identify the users and their location that suffered from DNS resolution process errors. And here, by activating the HTTP tracer target, I can immediately identify the different services that were impacted. That's it for this introduction video. If you need more information about how to set up an HTTP tracer, please refer back to our online documentation, which is available at docs.kadiska.com. And here you have the link to directly access the HTTP tracer setup section.